Margit, dead. Godrick, dead. The quest to fell all bosses in Elden Ring, dead. I'm a dead dude. Welcome back, Classic Crew, to another Elden Ring Journal as I travel through this game to fell every boss in the game. That is close to 100 bosses, if not more. Unique bosses without using any summons. If you're into that, be sure to check out the rest of my journals. Now we are on entry 4, and I've hit a ton of milestones where I finally overcome my wall, which was Margit. It took me 3 weeks. I wasn't consistently on this thing. And then I encountered Godrick, which I thought was going to be my next wall, but I got to beat him in the same night. So overall, it feels really productive, moved a lot of things forward, story beats, area beats, skill beats. So let's get started with what happened. I guess the biggest difference in my fight with Margit is I started to rely more on my jumping. So I've been using the Claymore as it's been the most effective weapon so far for knocking off big chunks of health on this thing. I had it upgraded to +3, so I'm not sure if it was upgraded last time, but I boosted it a little bit so I can do more damage. And this thing has just been really good in boss fights. I'm not a big fan of using strength weapons in this run, but for this boss fight, it's been very useful, and also for Godrick later. So anyways, the ability to jump and smack him really helped me have more maneuverability instead of just relying on holding R2 and like thrusting him. I also learned more about how to stagger him with more intention. So if you use, I forget what it's called, it's the one where you like do a little pirouette, smack him, and I do some jump smacks on him. If I do about 2 or 3 of those with the pirouettes, he'll stagger, and then I shove my sword in his. Overall, the rest was really just getting the timing down, which I had a lot of troubles with getting rolling around his attacks. But otherwise, he died, and I have to say, fantastic fight. I can't say anything bullshitty about him. This is a just very well-designed fight. The timing, you can't do it instinctively because if you panic roll, you're dead. It was just a fun, satisfying fight. And when I overcame that, whoa, my God, the endorphins, the adrenaline, everything was just through the roof. It felt amazing. So with him down, I could finally make my way through to Stormvale Castle, which was a pretty good time. So at the starting point, you can either go through the main gate. If the guy's like, oh, there's a secret passage here, I'm like, I don't trust anybody in these games. I'm gonna go through the main gate. Let's try the side. Here I encountered some birds, and the chat was like, oh no, the birds! And I was like, oh great, what do I have to fight here? Now at this point, I had switched out to the whip, which is my preferred weapon so far. I guess the Castlevania in me is running strong. Honestly, I think in my entire playthrough, I've only gotten hit once by a bird. So these things, no problem to a whip user. Made my way through, explored. There's a lot more I need to explore. I encountered Godrick before I was actually satisfied with my exploration of this castle. So I'm gonna have to come back later and check out a few nooks and crannies that I haven't looked at. I came across this dude with a lot of arms at one point who looked super scary, and I didn't want to fight him, but then I'm like, you know, there's the hunter in me that kind of wants the challenge. I'm both equally scared of things, and I don't know, I want to fight things. It's this conflict in me of run away or fight it, see if you can kill it. So the multi-arm dude, I challenged him. I think I died the first time, or maybe I almost died and ran away. But when I came back with my serious face on, I'm like, okay, we got some pillars. It's time to Ornstein this guy. And that means basically use the pillars to keep him between. And then I was using my whip, and he was just stuck on the pillar. He's like, oh no, I got too many arms to come across the pillar. And I'm just like, oh my God. So he really should have been a boss. I'm very disappointed he did not have a boss health bar on him. From there, I found a shortcut, which was I was pretty proud of. So after you kill the multi-arm dude, there is, not Godrick, because I learned he has a lot of arms too, but this other guy, there's pretty much a doorway, and there's all these soldiers just waiting, pointing at the doorway, waiting to like ambush you. And I tried a few times to like sneak around, and there's always a dude who's got like a hunting horn, and he just kind of like, wah, and everybody comes explicit. And I was like, I really don't want to go through here. This part's bad. So I kept spawning a little bit higher, and I was like, oh, I can actually see the courtyard where I'm getting like jumped on. If only there was a way for me to skip that area. And I was looking around, I was like, wait a minute, this gap, it seems jumpable. I wonder if this is an intentional shortcut. And so I'm like, I'm pretty sure I can do this jump. And I did the jump, and it was like the perfect length. Like if you were a little too short, you would fall to your death. And I made the jump. I was like, oh my God, I actually discovered a shortcut. And I started exploring, and sure enough, it takes you behind that group of ambushers, but it also takes you to a whole other area you can explore. So I felt like so proud. I'm like, good job. Look how far you've come. You actually know how to explore, sort of. And then in this area is where I came across Godrick. I was like, oh my God, this guy. At first, I actually thought he was Margit. I don't know, like hunched, weathered dudes with like cloaks. They all look the same at this point to me. But I get it. He's got a bunch of arms sticking out and he has no tail. So he started standing out more. In summary, Godrick was equally as fun as Margit. I had a great time with both of them. They were a fantastic challenge. Godrick I found was a little bit easier. I learned how to pretty much dodge all of his openings much faster than with Margit. I got the timing for Godrick down better, with the exception of his tornado thing. I don't know how to dodge it, and I got hit with it almost all the time. So at one point, he swirls a tornado around him, and he goes like woo, woo, twice, and then he rolls and jumps, and that's his opening where you can dodge the jump and kill him. But I could never dodge that tornado thing, so I don't know how to do it. Everything else was pretty manageable, from like his wacky like throwing axes at, not throwing, but swinging wide axes at you. And once I got it, again, I switched to the Claymore at this point because it was doing more damage, and it felt similar to Margit in playstyle, and it was just better for me to go in with the Claymore to get his health going down faster with the limited amount of openings I had. And so it took me a few times and then phase 2 happened, and he grafts a dragon to his arm, which was really cool. And then I guess a lot of people didn't see this move, but he kept biting me with his dragon and hammering me, like putting me in the ground and then blasting me with fire. I hate being grabbed in these games, so that was kind of rough. But that too, the dragon's attacks were pretty easy to, like when he does the fan, you can roll through the fire just like any dragon attack. Then he kind of shoots things into the air. That's pretty easy. You just run up to him and hit him. The worst one is when he like spews pretty much a sea of fire towards you. I don't know how to dodge that, and then he walks slowly, other than just running away. So that's how I dealt with that. But for the most part, same strategy as Margit. Jump, attack him with the sword, get the timed rolls in, do my like pirouette smack, try to do many of those in a row so that I can, break his thing, and then shove my sword in his face. Everything was coming together, and actually there's one time you couldn't even see health on his bar. Like I was one hit away from killing him, probably 1 HP, and I choked, and he just comboed me to death. It was the most upsetting thing ever. But that energized me for the next fight, which was I went back and I just got so aggressive on him, and then I killed him. Oh, I killed him epically. I didn't just kill him. So I was at the top of the stairs, and he came up, and he was jumping to come at me, and I jumped from the top of the stairs, and we both like clashed, and that was my winning blow, where like I just came from the top of the stairs jumping, hitting him, and he was coming from the bottom. Like, I have the high ground. I didn't actually say it because I just thought of it right now, but it was so cool. Like, oh, I live for these moments. It was just such a good time. Now, I didn't get Godrick all in one hit, all in one go. I did take a break while I was fighting him to go do other things. So at one point, I made it out to another mine because I wanted to level up my Claymore. And so I went back to the Weeping Peninsula, found a mine there to get a bunch of stones to level up my Claymore. And here I actually encountered another boss of the night, which was the Scaly Misbegotten. Because he's a unique boss, he must be gotten. Pretty easy at this point. I was there with a whip. His attacks were super easy to dodge. He did not leave much of an impression. Otherwise, he dropped a Rusted Anchor, which is a cool looking weapon, but one I will never use because it's massive and clunky. So that's another boss down on the list. And I got a bunch of stones, upgraded my Claymore. I think we're at +4, maybe +5, roughly. I also, back in my hub, there's now a lady with like 2 giant fingers, and the fingers talk to me, but the lady talks to me, and she did something, and I forgot what it is, and the fingers want me to do, I don't know. I really don't understand what's going on. I got a bunch of lore, but I was just like, why are there 2 massive fingers talking to me? Why are there 2 massive fingers in the first place? It's just too much for me. And then we also unlocked dialogue with another guy behind his desk who's like, here's 5 or 6 targets, one of which is Godrick. He's like, go on. I was like, here's the open world. I can go on after all of them. There was one in a volcano, one dude I have to hunt in a volcano. I'm like, I want to go kill this guy. And the chat's like, maybe pick someone else. So we're going to see what I do next stream for that. And also I got some rot, some like death rot or something. And I was told to seek out the Beast Clergyman. So I went out to close to that elevator that took me to Pain Town, and there's so many Pain Towns. That teleported me back to frickin' Florida, and there's a dude that was standing out like a big thing called the Black Blade Kindred, which I'm like, oh, that looks like pain. But then I talked to the Beast Clergyman. Oh, this isn't Grail's Dragon Barrow. That's what it's called. He's like, give me some rot. I'm like, here you go. I got some rot. He's like, delicious. Bring me more rot. Here's an eyeball so you can find it. So I'm like, all right, this is like a side quest where I have to find this boy some rot, and I guess something good will happen. So now I'm looking for some rot. And then on the way out, of course, I'm curious. I'm like, what would happen if I hit this big black bird? So I hit him. Didn't do a lot of damage, learned he was a boss, and he one-hit me. So I was like, okay, we've been in Florida long enough. Let's go back to Godrick and kill him. And that's what I did. So overall, lots of stuff. I think I'm pretty much done the early area. Of course, there's a bunch of stuff I missed. When I go back on stream, I do want to spend a bit more time in Stormvale Castle. I want to explore what I missed. And then I have to go to this tower beyond the bridge, which I think I know where it is, to activate the Great Rune. And then from there, who knows where we go? There's so many places to go. I got 5-6 targets. I don't want to go to Florida. I'm going to go look at them over again as to who I can do. And it's going to be a matter of what feels right. Where do I go from here? I think our time in Limgrave is coming to an end. And the only other area I know of is Florida. And I don't want to go there. So we're going to pick a different area than Florida. So I feel like the training wheels are off. It's only going to get more painful from here. We're at about 12 or so bosses slain. That's maybe 10% of my pledge complete. So I will see you either on the next stream as I continue to hunt these fell beasts or bosses, or on the next journal. And until next time, keep it classy. Do 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 do. Subscribe.